Welcome, everybody, to the Multipli Podcast. I am Josh Lopes, the COO and a growth partner at Multipli, where we build custom software, mobile apps, websites, and we provide fractional CTO services to help companies grow, scale, and be ROI focused in everything they do so they can multiply. I'm super excited today to be joined by Lucas Glenn. Lucas is a new friend. He is the business and marketing manager over at Fidelis Home Care. Lucas, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Where are you calling in from today, brother?
Calling in from Dallas, Texas.
Dallas. All right. And I'm in Greenville, South Carolina. So two hot places right now in the midst of the summer.
Yeah, just miserable. But it's great. It's great. A lot of pool time.
Totally. We have some scorching hot days here as well, especially this past week. But Lucas, I want to dive in. Let's dive into your personal and professional background. And if you can kick off, man, I know that you're 3 years into marriage, 1 year into being a dad. Such a blessing, man. I'm 10 years into marriage. I've got 3 little ones under the age of 6. It's what fuels me. Tell me, how has becoming a dad and a husband shaped your perspective of what you do every day with your work and leaving a legacy?
Definitely. So, first off, getting married 3 years ago, I always heard marriage is the most sanctifying thing that you could ever endure. And that was the truest piece of advice I have ever received. And now that I'm a dad, I would like to further that and say, yes, getting married is an incredibly sanctifying thing, but even more so is becoming a dad. You've got, you're joining your wife, you're living at home together, and there's nothing secret. And so every little shortcoming in you is just brought out, and that's even more brought to bear with having a kid. Every little lack of discipline moment, any little thing that you're doing is going to have an effect on your entire family. So it's been an incredibly sanctifying thing in a great way. Obviously, some things hurt whenever you need those growth moments, but sanctifying, it's a great process, making you into a man that you need to be and want to be. So that's been great. And then also, how it relates to business. We're just now married 3 years, have a daughter, and, my goal as a husband, as a father, is to provide fully for my family. And I was just, journaling yesterday, and I've been thinking of that in the concept of, financially, fiscally, buying a house, providing cars for my family, all that stuff. And God just hit me and he said, man, providing is so much more than that. In fact, financially is on the bottom of the totem pole. Like, God's going to take care of that. He provides for the animals, all those things, everything they need. How much more is he going to provide for us? My goal as a husband, as of yesterday, and kind of journaling through this, is, to provide the leadership and spirituality of the home, to provide the love that just overflows. And those are kind of the two things that God is calling me to provide for our family, as opposed to fiscally and financially. That's lower on the totem pole again, as opposed to spiritual leadership and love. So,
amen, brother. I love that you took it there, Lucas. Seriously, I can tell this is going to be a great chat. Couldn't agree more. You've clearly had mega downloads in the 1 year of being a dad already. And I couldn't agree with you more. Like, I've got a soon to be 6-year-old, soon to be 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And being a dad is nothing but a blessing. Does it test you at times? Does it keep you on your toes? Does it help you realize how selfish you are without you actually having realized it before? 1,000,000%.
absolutely.
But well said. Couldn't agree more. And it is challenging sometimes. Sometimes it's easier to think through the lens of only providing financially, when the way harder thing that we have to do is continuously refine our hearts, purify our motives, and just check, hey, what am I actually seeking first? Because as you and I know, if we seek the right thing first, if we seek after the Father and his heart, his hand will provide, and it'll give us all the other things that we need and more. So it'll make us not just more the men that he created us to be, better husbands, better dads, worthy examples, and our kids will follow in our footsteps. So I love that we're here. Hey, this is a business podcast, but the way I see it, there is no Sunday identity and a Monday through Friday identity. There's just one identity, and it's what God gave us. So we're going there today on the Multipli Podcast. This is awesome, man. So thank you for sharing a little bit more about your personal background. Clearly, your faith is woven into everything that you do as well. Tell me a little bit more about your professional background before you came to Fidelis.
Yeah, so I went through nursing school and got a job at an emergency department here in South Dallas, kind of just a rougher patient population. Got a ton of experience, got to be in trauma. The emergency department I was at had a psych facility, so I had plenty of interesting stories from there. A lot scary, sad, funny, like all of it. And so it was a great experience being there, but, having a baby and working those long shifts, 12 hours, 3 days a week, sometimes 4 days a week, just started to weigh on me. And starting in trauma, having these really sad stories come in, just weighed on me as I went home. And I mean, sleepless nights, all those things were happening. And so me and my wife met, and we talked one day, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be a bedside forever. And it's not always been the goal to be a bedside forever, but I was like, I don't know if I can take much more of this, honestly. And so we prayed in that moment and said, God, like, here's what I request, Lord, just a change of scenery, something. I don't know what it looks like, but just change something. And literally the next day, my father-in-law calls me and says, hey, what do you think about doing business management and marketing with Fidelis? And so just amazing intersection there, God just completely covering us. And so just like, to me and my wife, that's absolutely a miracle that God provides almost instantaneously in that way. So yeah.
So cool, man. That one little prayer, right? Big doors swing on little hinges. That's the way that the kingdom works. Really cool timing. So that door opened up, and it's your father-in-law. So it's a family business here. You went from working in the field in the ER to now being on the business and marketing side at a family business. Tell us about that. I understand family business. The COO of Multipli is my twin brother. Younger brother is involved. Our wives are involved. This is totally a family endeavor for us, and family legacy has always been the end goal for us. But tell us from your end, what's it been like being a part of a family business?
Definitely. And the initial talks that me and my father-in-law had was we tried to be brutally honest with ourselves and say, hey, if this doesn't work out, we both need to know that we're going to be okay and have a good relationship beyond this. I've only been here 5 months, but I mean, everything has been just amazing. Obviously, there's been little shortcomings here and there that we discuss and stuff. It's been amazing. And it was preceded by those conversations of, hey, what if everything does go south? How do we proceed? Because I've heard so many horror stories of working with friends and family. And by some people, I was advised not to do it. But in my case, in this case, I am just beyond grateful for my father-in-law, for Fidelis. This has been just a great opportunity, a place to grow. To kind of better answer your question, I really wasn't prepared academically for this position. I went through nursing school. I learned clinically a lot of the things I needed to know, but coming into a marketing position, I know nothing about sales. So thankfully, my father-in-law has been in sales, most of his life. And so he was able to pass down some tips and tricks and everything like that kind of helped me get up to the standard that we needed a little bit quicker. But it's been a lot of learning from me and getting out of my comfort zone and everything. My extroverted personality helps, but I mean, it's a lot of getting uncomfortable and learning to do things that you're not really used to.
That's awesome, man. I think we all have to have those moments along the way where we are elevated sometimes into roles that we don't even necessarily feel worthy or qualified, right? It's more an elevation than an earning in certain seasons. And we learn so much about ourselves, the stuff that's already in there, and especially being placed under the wisdom of a mentor. In this case, it sounds like your father-in-law has been able to share so many gems, not just from a business perspective, but obviously there's the family ties there as well. Sometimes it's just getting around the right people and they pull the things out of you that were already in there from the start. So That's cool. That's really cool. And I'm all about family business, man. So I'm happy that we're recording this podcast. Faith and family is everything to us. But so tell us more about Fidelis, maybe a little bit more about the family history. I know that you guys were started over a decade ago. Why was it started? Like, what made your father and mother-in-law want to start the company? What are some of the values? Maybe from there we can transition into how's it going now?
Definitely. So my father-in-law, about 15 years ago, his father had some medical issues where he needed in-home care. And my father-in-law kind of looked around and didn't see any home cares in his area that could really suit his need on a reliable basis and provide trustworthy caregivers. And so in his search, he thought, hey, let's start one that we know we can build to be reliable, trustworthy, faithful. And that's kind of where the name Fidelis came from. So he is a veteran. He was a Marine, and that's where the name Fidelis comes from Semper Fi. I'm sure you're familiar. And so that means Semper Fidelis, and that Fidelis is Latin for faithful, trustworthy, and true. And so that's what we really want Fidelis to embody. I always tell clients that we are talking to that we're sending a caregiver into your home. We want to know, and you want to know, that you can trust this person. And so we do all the work on that front end to make sure that we only hire the best, the most trustworthy, the most compassionate people to send into your homes. Because, I mean, everybody eventually is going to need this type of care. I wouldn't want to send somebody into their home that I wouldn't be comfortable sending into my parents' home. And so that's kind of the standard that we try to uphold at Fidelis, kind of set from the beginning from Jeff, my father-in-law, and Connie, my mother-in-law. And she had a background in nursing. And so that kind of just helped foster Fidelis and kind of brought in that clinical background that it required.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And I'm hearing that a lot in the space as I talk to some of the other owners and executives in the space, like the desire to build something great and fill a gap. It was birthed through a personal experience. And I think that's great because obviously like business is business and there have to be some level of like KPIs and finances that are tied to running an organization successfully and just being a good steward there. But at the end of the day, I feel like the companies that I'm hearing the most impactful stories from are those that treat their patients and their teams like family. And when it's driven out of, when the company is birthed out of that need not being met for their own family, it's almost like you can feel something different with the way that they communicate about their team. So that's cool. That's cool. Where are you guys at right now, Lucas, in terms of, so this is a decade later, how have things been going? What are you guys most excited about for this year?
Definitely. So when I first joined Fidelis, there was a lot of just inefficiencies in the office specifically. And we think of Fidelis as like three legs of the business. There's recruiting, obviously getting the caregivers on board. There's scheduling, care coordination, coordinating with the clients on what they need, developing their profiles to kind of fit their need, and then marketing, obviously, to go out and find the cases that we need to keep the doors open. And so the first 2 months really of my stint with Fidelis was spent kind of strengthening all the legs. And that's kind of from a tech background. I do have a bit of a tech background, and ChatGPT has just helped me tremendously with this as far as coding projects and everything. So I was developing a lot of my own projects, making a website and providing tools for the staff to, do their jobs more easily. And I told them my goal is to make your job as easy as possible. And so that took a good 2-3 months in order to, set up all those processes and make the job repeatable and easy to learn. And then I've been able to, in the past couple of months, to really take a marketing focus. And honestly, marketing has been kind of our weakest point up to this point. It's not really been a major area of focus because we do have kind of our brand name is well known in the community. And so we haven't needed to stretch out. Since that, we've kind of plateaued. And so my job is to get our name in front of as many people as possible. And so that's kind of the current goal is to, build a marketing process, build these things that are repeatable and trainable. And then the future goal, me and my father-in-law just got off a phone call this morning talking about, hey, how do we scale? After I'm done building this marketing system, we have a product essentially that is repeatable, it's efficient, and it just makes sense to continue to build upon that with multiple offices. And so that's really what the future looks like. And what I'm excited to build and do with my father-in-law is to expand locations, go out and look at hiring people, and increase our presence across DFW.
Taking dominion. I love it, man.
Yeah, that's good.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And yeah, man, it's pretty incredible that ChatGPT, you can become whatever you want to that day. You can learn a new skill in a day and you can become a detailed coder. You can learn more about people skills. You can learn just about everything in between. So we say the same thing too, because sometimes I'm sure you saw this, Lucas, as the young gun coming into a space where it's not always younger professionals in the industry. Sometimes I feel like people are threatened by AI, by tech, by marketing systems. And they're worried that, hey, this is going to take my job. And sure, I think that jobs will change in nature from less of busy work and administrative type work. And what we tell people is our goal isn't to take anybody's job. Our goal is to let tech do what tech can do so that people can do what only people can do.
Exactly.
Right? Tech can't look at somebody and create a spirit level connection. It can do a lot of things right now. Right? And it's pretty amazing how efficient technology, AI, the right marketing stack, and the connection between everything, which I know you're navigating right now at Fidelis. It's not only about, am I choosing a good marketing stack? Am I choosing a good tech option? It's, do they integrate well? Sometimes figuring out those integrations and automating processes, that can be the challenging piece, right? Definitely. But tech can help with that stuff. What tech can't always do is look somebody in the eye, treat them like a human, and create a spirit level connection.
Definitely. Yeah, my least favorite part of, home care and the office logistics and everything is just data entry. And that is something that AI, exceeds at. And so that was especially my goal in those first couple months where I was just updating systems and everything. Why are we, rocking with Excel and just spending hours just entering data and everything? Like let's let tech do that, what it's good at. So we can go, like you said, get on the phone, go visit clients and everything, get those heart connections.
Absolutely. I'm sure it was really refreshing for your in-laws as well, and for all of the executive leadership team to have you on board, because sometimes it really takes a third party perspective, somebody that hasn't been in the day to day of like, this is the way it's always been done. Well, it's worked good enough until now. Well, when good enough is costing you 10 to 20 hours per week and a lot of your mental bandwidth that could be going towards strategy, scaling, and just better patient service, better patient outcomes, sometimes you don't realize how much you were actually giving up at the altar of not innovating. So I think that's great that they developed a role for you. Yet nobody was fired, that you stepped into the role. Literally, they kind of created their own role. And it sounds like you've been stepping in and really adding a whole bunch of value, Lucas. So that's very
Definitely.
cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me this. I love asking people who are in this space, what's a story or two that's really stood out to you so far, whether it's from a patient, whether it's from a team member? I know there's got to be some tear jerkers and really impactful heart to heart stories. What's one that you could share with us, Lucas?
Absolutely. So me and Jeff, the owner, both have a heart for obviously the clients, and that's kind of across home care. You're not going to be in the business if you don't love people, if you don't want to serve people. So yeah, that goes without saying. But what we like to think kind of sets us apart is just our love for our employees, our staff members, and providing a place to work that's different from everywhere else. And a large part of that is found in our faith, finding coworkers that increase the feel of a room, I guess. Just make the office a good place to work, I guess you'd say. And so those are the kind of people that we look to bring onto our team, and then to foster those conversations, encourage prayer kind of in the staff rooms and in the meetings and everything like that. But as far as the story goes, so we have this one client, and she was a hospice case. And so definitely end stage hospice, we're not going to have her super long, but we do this thing called huggy visits, where we have a staff member go out to a home, and basically there's no purpose to the visit other than taking a stuffed animal. And, you're just going to sit there and talk with the client for a while and see how they're doing and just kind of love on them in that way. And then you leave this little stuffed animal and say, hey, I'll be back in about a month or so. We're going to start your little jungle. Every time I come back, we're going to bring another stuffed animal. And so we did this for this hospice client, and it came time for her to be hospitalized and just kind of end of life care. And we go in there to visit the family and everything, and we gave one of the little kids, the huggy visit stuffed animal for the time, and we look at the client, and she just kind of curled up in bed, IVs going and everything, just kind of help relieve pain. And in her neck, she has the very first stuffed animal from the huggy visits. And the family was just saying that's her absolute favorite thing to take everywhere she goes. Some people have blankets, some people have stuffed animals. This was her comfort item. And so, yeah, as soon as they decided to go to the hospital, they knew, hey, we have to grab that stuffed animal and make sure that's with her. And so that's the kind of care that we love to provide, that peace of mind, that compassion for families and for the clients themselves.
That's awesome, Lucas. Little acts of love go a long way, right? There are no little things. So that's really special. I haven't heard that yet from any of the people that I've talked to. So very awesome and unique approach there. Thanks for sharing that story. Lucas, anything else that you want to add?
Man, I was advised not to join a family business or with close friends because it can be a tense scenario, especially when business isn't doing well and the blame has to be kind of placed. But I'm just beyond grateful to my family for, bringing me in this process and encouraging my growth. I know, in my position, as I'm starting to look at, new team members and everything to bring on, I'm not looking necessarily for someone who has no marketing experience and is just looking to grow. But I'm thankful they took that risk on me, and were willing to train me. We're willing to take those steps in order to get me where I needed to be. And so, yeah, I'm just beyond grateful. And then it's the shift from bedside nursing to working as a marketer has been just incredible for the family. I get to spend more time with them. I'm just more mentally and just physically engaged. I don't come home from after 12 hours and just immediately want to go to bed. And so that's been a great shift. I get sometimes when I'm working from home and my daughter walks in the room and I just get to sit there and play with her for a little bit. So it's those little things that just truly make me thankful.
It's amazing, Lucas. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to share today. And I'm with you, man. You can hire, you can always train for skills. And it's easier than ever in the world that we live in for people to learn new skills every day as needed via ChatGPT and other creative resources that we have available on our phone. But what's tougher to find is just character. So I'm not surprised that your in-laws took a chance on you. I know that along the journey, all of us are going to take a chance on other people as well, as we're led to do that. And it's going to make a big difference. So
Definitely.
clearly you're doing that, man. You're doing that in your role. You're doing that as a husband, as a dad. So way to go. Keep up the good work. And thank you so much for spending some time with us today on the Multipli Podcast. Really enjoyed having you on.
Of course. Yeah. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time.